Welcome to my second YouTube video of the year. I know it's April, yes, we will keep up with the pace, but welcome to this video. In today's topic, I'm talking about something that is very close to my heart, and I bumped into someone who is perfect for this conversation. I trust social media. Today I'm talking about Graceful Goodbyes, and this topic is very close to my heart because having lived a few years I've lived in my life, I've seen a few farewells, attended a few funerals, and something I've always wanted to take charge of, to plan, to ensure that it's not a time with so much confusion or a time where we are not able to celebrate a life well lived. And I believe everyone, no matter how long or how their life has panned out, I think for me, death is mostly a cause of celebration. And today we're going to talk about how to handle it gracefully and how we can extend grace to each other and how we can celebrate ourselves when that time comes. Because I believe for as sure as we were born is as sure as we will die. And if I can have a say about it, why not? And on today's set, we have Anne, and I'll let her introduce herself. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you very much, Kathy. My name is Anne Mwangi, and I am a funeral planner. My company name is Graceful Goodbyes. I'm here to give you that befitting send-off that you've always wanted to have. Either you pre-plan it, or for those that are already living, we will make it happen. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And welcome, Anne. Thank you for accepting the invite.
Most welcome.
What I'll be interested in to ask first.
Yes.
And the first time I bumped into your page and we had a conversation, I liked the Graceful Goodbyes. And I just wanted to ask, because I don't think when I was choosing my course to do in campus, there was burial planner as part of the courses they offer. So I'd like to know, which I think we should offer, because it's something that has been there with us for years and centuries.
Yes.
So how did you bump into this career and what you do? How did you get here?
Okay, it's a long journey, but to make it short is I got here by, one, I'm very good with putting things together.
Okay.
So anything to do with operations and planning, I believe I am good at that. Mm-hmm. We normally don't say we are perfect, but I'm close to perfect in doing that. Mm-hmm. Then number two, I have in the past and even recent, even before I even started Graceful Goodbyes, I've been to many funeral meetings and I've seen where we have gaps and no one is ready to step in and be there for the bereaved family.
Okay.
So one, out of experience with the number of funeral planning arrangements that I've been involved in, like Mashakayas, etc., I saw the gap and decided, why not? Like, I can give casing points. The idea came up in 2018, where my parents are in Mombasa. Okay. So dad and mom would be like, we cannot make it to Nairobi. Could you go to so-and-so's family, give them our pole and represent us? So please note, I was not bereaved. I'm going to represent my parents. So even the people who've been bereaved, I'm not too close to them. So I would go in, sit. One, Anne Mwangi doesn't know how to sit when she's made comfortable where she is. Okay. So it would start with, someone needs a cup of tea. I'll wake up, go to the kitchen, get the cup of tea, serve them. Then when the meeting begins, someone will be like, who's going over to look for the hearse, the casket, the flowers, etc. Everyone is in their own mindset because of what has just happened. Mm-hmm. So I'd volunteer and do it.
So you are, in short, the people who are chairman of the committee, but when it starts, no one is volunteering.
Yes.
Then at the end of it all, when they're breaking the committee, you find yourself being the chairman of many of this, because there are people who, to be honest,
yes,
and Mike is one of them, who is, you always find yourself when it comes to these moments. Unlike most people who are still maybe in shock and don't know what to do, you find yourself being action-oriented.
Yes.
And get things done.
Yeah, you have to get things done. And then also to add on, as much as we're saying that we have the chairman and the chair ladies who Their work is to oversee everything.
Okay.
But when it comes to running around, they do not, in most cases, they're not the ones who run around to look for these things. People volunteer within the committee that I will run and do this. Not so volunteer. You find yourself being told, Kathy, go after the flowers, and go after the casket, so and so go after this. But one thing we fail to understand is those that we are sending out are also most probably also going through the loss, because you'll never get a stranger to do it for you from the past.
Okay.
So you're sending someone who you may not even know whether it will get worse when they go to start viewing caskets to choose one. So in that case, I asked myself, why should the family be involved in doing this? Why not sit at home? Let your friends and families come and tell you pole. See what they can do in terms of making you comfortable and figuring out how to move on after this happens. And have Anne, who's not affected in any way or other, do the running around and plan for you. Yes.
Okay.
So you don't need to leave your seat. Let will come and tell you pole and be there for you.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'm always the one in charge of flowers. It's always my what
Your
I
forte.
do. Yeah, I'm an androphile, so I always believe, I can offer flowers, which most people, especially when it comes to burials and our big numbers, it's a budget with most people, would be hard for the treasurer to convince people to spend on.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get there as we continue the conversation.
Yeah.
So you started your company in 2018.
2018 I began it.
Okay.
But as we all start businesses once in a while, you realize that you're not so ready for it.
Okay.
So back in 2018 when I started, I had a different name from Graceful Goodbyes.
Okay.
And note, at that point, I was helping close family and friends plan the send-offs without any charges or anything, like voluntarily. But when the time came for an actual client to call me, the unfortunate bit, I realized I was not emotionally ready. So it was a guy, he cried, and I cried on the other end of the phone. So I asked for a few minutes to like in a nice way say, let me give you a few minutes to compose yourself, but I think it was more for me to compose myself. Then we have the conversation. Then later on I got to where I was headed to, and I had a conversation with myself, and I was like, and we're here to help the bereaved, not help them cry, but help them with everything. But at that point I realized, no, I'm not ready for this emotionally. So I packed my books. As much as I'd registered the company, that the websites, had partners to partner with, I closed shop and I went back to looking for employment. Okay. But the interesting bit, in the various places that I worked in, there was always that nudge of, you know where you're supposed to be. If I go tell a family, or maybe I've lost a friend, a relative, I'm like, I'll still plug in and I'm like, and this is where you belong. So I kept on ignoring it every now and then until last year mid-year, I was like, why am I still doing employed? And every other day someone will call and ask, do you still do this? Could you help us do this? Then I'll be like, yes, I will help you do it, but I'm not going to charge. So someone will be like, no, at the end of the day, please fuel your car. Please do this for it. Then I was like, you know what? Let me sit and figure out. My problem was the emotional bit, getting attached even to strangers. Like, you're crying, I'll there cry. And I'm very emotional, by the way. We start crying right now. I don't know what's going to stop us, but I found a way around it.
You're an empath. You empathize.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, maybe even more than one would expect. I don't know. Maybe it's nature. So what I did is, I realized the reason why we feel so hard, first we love that person. That is why it's getting to us knowing that we're not going to see them anymore. Okay. So I have a friend who's a therapist, and I told her I need to go back into this business. But the only way to overcome this is by, one, going through therapy sessions, and also the bereaved family also need to go through a therapy session after this. So if you go...
Post the send-off.
After the send-off.
Yeah, so it's post the send-off.
Yes. Okay. Especially 2 to 3 weeks after it has happened.
Okay.
So in most of my packages, especially those ones on the website, have a free therapy session. I'm still trying to figure out. I have like 3 types of packages, but I want in all of them to still do it. But now the hindrance comes in that the current families that I've helped so far don't see the need of therapy. They don't, they say it's the norm, we will get over it.
Okay.
But therapy really helps. So there's a way with the therapists that I work with, you're given between 45 to 1 hour family therapy just to guide you on how to go about with the new norm without the loved one, which makes it easy for you to not necessarily bounce completely back into work, but you're able to navigate the journey after you've had that session.
Okay, so you went for therapy before now you are actually able to help and charge for your services and to actually earn money from what you enjoy doing.
I still do therapy every now and then. After a certain number of families, I still check in with my therapist to help me out, because I normally say, those who actually know me know I'm a happy-go-lucky girl.
Okay.
I smile a lot. I laugh a lot. So I normally tell them, when you see my smile going away, please just give me that nudge and say, it's time for you to go for your therapy. Because at the end of the day, it's sad they're gone, but the beauty is we have them in our memories and no one can take that away.
Okay.
So there's something also to feel like I'm connected with that person, irrespective of them being here physically or not.
Irrespective of whether you know them or not?
No, that's to the bereaved family. You see, for me, once I've offered the service, the most I will do is after they've gone, the therapy session, and then to the other services that I provide.
To inquire was because you're already on that path of when you do this, when you get your therapy sessions, is it because after a while you need to unpack?
Yes. You really need to unpack a lot.
Okay.
And then also being a new journey in professionally, like what I am doing, I'm learning a lot along the way.
Okay.
Some which is not even easy to, like, you're like, people actually go through this. So there's that bit of not really disturbance, but you're like, no, I didn't think this would actually be happening. So I have to go and offload and speak out my mind and someone not thinking that I'm crazy.
Okay.
Yes.
Before we get to your services and your packages, and just a question, because as you introduce yourself, everyone introduces themselves and what they do. And most people who are in business, especially entrepreneurship, do what they're passionate about.
Yes.
In the beginning, you didn't know it was going to make you money. You did it to help others.
Yes.
You did it to represent your parents. Is there stigmatization? Do we have, and I think I tend to think there are people who are event planners, but most wants to say they're wedding planners, baby showers, bridal showers, and baptism and all these things. Do we have people who will say, I plan people's funerals, graceful goodbyes? Was there stigmatization? And do you have other funeral planners that you know and who just do only funeral planning?
There is stigmatization.
Okay.
Especially when I began it, and they were like, so what are you going to put on your cards? How will you introduce yourself? I kept telling people there are no two ways about it. I am a funeral planner and I am proud to be a funeral planner. The stigmatization now comes in people making bad comments like, so you want us to die? Or
people will die.
Yes, but you see now, those small comments, they're the ones which you're like, that was your thoughts, not mine, because in life there is death. So currently there's a club I meet every now and then you hear someone saying, the mamazishi ameingia. And I'm like, ni mimi, like napanga, see, yeah. And then there are those people who will think that because I'm a funeral planner, I do not believe there's a God, or I don't believe in God. Like, it's taken to be more of the dark side of everything. So when people see, like if a family meets me the first time and see the bubbly side of me, they're like, why are you in this business? We expected someone who doesn't look like you. It's an event like any other in our lives. The thing is, even growing up, we grew up knowing death is something very bad. Yes, it's bad in the sense that it takes away our loved ones, but it's a process of life. So all the horror stories we've had around death and everything has made our judgment be clouded in, it's a bad thing, it's horrific, it's only done by certain kind of people, etc.
Okay.
But no, we are there to help where we can. Yes.
Do you think maybe if we had, I always say people have careers. We have doctors, we have teachers, we have event planners, wedding planners. It's a support group that maybe some people, maybe having watched this video, can reach out and you can offer each other support, because you are the ones who do this every day. This is your job. You know, you wake up every day and you're helping a family bid their loved ones goodbye and do it in a graceful and planned way, which is how it should be done.
That's what should be done.
Supposed to be done. And I think any person who's out there and they realize they plan funerals and they plan send-offs, why not reach out and we can support one another?
Yes, we can support each other. That would be it would be good to know. Like yesterday, I was told by a lady, we had gone for a session, it was some form of training, that I'm the second funeral planner that she knows. And I was like, thank God, because I thought I was the only one. Like, I told her, introduce me to the other one, because it's good to exchange notes and hopefully maybe be on the same path line. Like, we're there to make sure that those families feel good and relieved that there was someone to step in to do it.
Yes, and set the standards.
Yeah, so if there are others out there, please
reach out to us.
Yes.
Yeah, to Graceful Goodbyes.
Yes.
Something else I want to talk about is, personally, I myself have never thought of a funeral and my death as something that is bad. I've always thought to myself, if I prepare for things in life, we prepare for our universities, our education, we prepare for our retirement, we plan for our children, we plan for our graduations, we plan for our weddings. I personally would want to plan for my own funeral send-off in my own way, put it my own twist. I wasn't here when I entered the world, but I would like to have influence on how I live this world. So with that, I'd like you to maybe tell the audience what services you offer with regards to the packages that you have when it comes to send-offs.
Okay, no, let's first take a few steps back. First, I'm impressed that you want to plan it.
Oh yeah.
Because part of the services that I offer is pre-planning.
It's time to plan, first of all, number one, because I don't want to, like I said, I want to have influence. Number two, I want to take charge of how I exit.
Yes.
Number three, I do not want embarrassment. And embarrassment always comes from your family. Yes. And also, I don't want to, for lack of a better word, I don't want to be a burden. And there are things that I'm very specific by nature with how I like things.
Yes.
So there are things that are specific. And why not plan? Because for me, it will be a celebration of life.
Thank you. That's how it's supposed to be. With every death, it's supposed to be a celebration of life. And like I still say, I'm impressed that you want to pre-plan it, because what I normally say, or the goal of Graceful Goodbyes is, if you met, like, you love fashion, yesterday I realized you love flowers. So why not celebrate the person who's left the way they loved it? If they loved music, please play music from the beginning till the end. It's okay to still have the norm that we normally have of the meetings in the evening, we go to church and then we go bury the person. But that's standardizing it. Why not do it the way the person loved it? This person loved fashion. Show up dressed up. Let her, if her or him could turn around and see what all of you look like, let them smile because you've shown up for them. If that person loved traveling, if we could travel in the air or do something in regards to that, let's do it.
Exactly.
So it's okay to plan, and anyone else would like to plan, we can plan it according to the way you want it. Because planning comes with two ways. One, the way I'm getting it, it's because of the way you want it to be.
Yes.
Other people plan it in terms of, I'll use examples with all due respect even to the man. He's got a wife, second wife, girlfriends, etc. And they're trying to avoid war upon his death. So those ones plan.
War, or they are trying to avoid the consequences of their actions. So anyway, for most men, those ones will still come, but these ones are men who still want to maintain their reputation, which is smart.
Yes.
And also I think another thing why I would say pre-planning is because sometimes, and okay, most of the time, in our African culture, it then moves from what I would have wanted to now what people would have wanted. So it's time for people to insert their own, and grief brings out most time the worst of ourselves.
That's very true.
Yeah. So you find people who will show up, you have an ex-husband who you divorced 35 years ago and you've been married to yours for 10, 15 years, and they want to say, Kathy told me this when we were married, that she wanted this and this. So it's time for people to bring in their own selfish, desires, and also to find relevance.
Yes.
People always never give people flowers when they're alive. So that's when it hits you, they are gone. I'm saying from things I've seen and why I would pre-plan. And I'd like to, as personally manage emotions, we are going to grieve with dignity.
I'm saying amen to that, which is very good.
We are going to grieve with dignity, and we are going to celebrate our life. So other than pre-planning, what other packages do you offer?
Okay, so there's the funeral planning, which is basic, which is a traditional funeral, which is 6 feet under. I also do offer cremation.
Okay.
There's body organ donation, which is still in the pipeline to be legalized, and that one I can open it up to the public. We have repatriation. I like the you smiling. We have repatriation into the country and out. So anyone in the diaspora, if you ever had anyone who wants to bring the body back, we will do that. Or even from here out, we will as well do that.
Okay.
Then we've got grief therapy, which we offer family, individual. We can either do it physically or virtually, but we normally push for physical because there's more of connection that way. Then we have pre-planning, where now we will sit down, pre-plan and document it with your lawyer. If we do not have a lawyer, we can use a panel of lawyers that I work with. And the other part of pre-planning is we have the last expense cover.
Okay.
Now we can go into details it's an insurance cover where you pay a minimal fee upon someone's passing. The insurance company gives back the money, but in this case, since I'm a funeral planner, the money comes to Graceful Goodbyes and they do the planning for the family. Then we've got legal advice or legal areas. Legal comes in under disputes. Disputes, we all know them. It could be area where the person is being buried, there's a dispute in that, or families have got dispute on who should bury their deceased. Then we've got succession. You've been left for all this. You did not get what you're expecting to get. So we also bring in lawyers to stand in the gap and help the family in terms of succession. Then we also have wealth management. A lot of wealth was left behind for the kids, and we've been seeing a lot of families where a lot of wealth was left back in the kids and they are misusing it. It's not their choice to want to misuse it. They just don't know how to plan themselves with the wealth that was left behind for them. And also, to go 2 steps back, in pre-planning also we have will writing. So you can as well do your will beforehand. Then lastly, on the website we have a tribute page where now you can share your memories of the person who's gone. And the advantage is it is very private, that even right now if you went to the website, you will just see a place written tributes, but you cannot access anyone's page. You can only access it by them sending you the link or inviting you to contribute to the page.
To the tribute.
Yes.
I think this is not ending at the funeral.
Yes,
which means you have a lot of grief. Because once I give you I offer you my services of a graceful send-off, I would suggest that people who were involved would need to pick up on succession and all those things, because it can be lengthy. And so for you as Anne, where do you draw the line post burial? Do you just introduce them to your team of lawyers and experts in this field, or do you then follow up? Because then the follow up can be draining and a lot.
No, I follow it up.
Okay.
Even like there's a family that I helped off in December when they began. Even up to date, we keep chatting just to ensure that they're okay.
Okay.
They had their grief session.
Okay.
Just finding out, is it okay? Is there anything else that you'd want? Because even getting the final death certificate, I will do that again.
Okay.
Yeah. What I normally say is, I'm in the area of death, bereavement, etc. And there is no end, because who says that after your first session with the therapy that you're healed, you're okay? You might still need my services 6 months, 9 months down the line, and I'll be like, I'm here to still help.
Wow.
Now, maybe where the line is drawn is now that you're like, since you did a very good work for the event of sending off our loved ones, why don't you do our birthday or wedding? I'm like, no, let me refer someone there.
Okay.
It's not that I cannot do it, but I'm like, no, that's not my area. Let me help the bereaved families.
Okay. Yes. That's very interesting. I would want to ask a question, and this is for myself.
Okay.
For pre-planners,
yes,
like myself, is it something I can update as we go along? Yes. And as long as my lawyer is there, and it can be signed. So it doesn't mean if this is how I'd like it to be done now, 3, 5 years later, 6 years later, depending on circumstances and what I've gone through, or an appreciation of how I've lived or view life in a different perspective, that I cannot update my pre-preparation of my send-off.
You can update it as many times as you want.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And now there'll be the written document, and God forbid, if maybe it was the last moments and you decide, I actually see myself going right now,
yes,
and verbally said that I want Lily's only. That too, as long as there's someone who heard about it, we will make it effective as well. Yes.
Okay. So that's interesting. So definitely I'm pre-planning. So I've pre-planned it.
Yes.
In my head. Now
we will just need to document it and listen it.
Yes. I'm very happy to have met you for myself. So anyone who knows me has to know that if you are not on the list, don't take it personally. You are never friends to begin with. Yes.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
When Kathy says that if you're not down on the list, you're not invited, no one should take offense in that, because sometimes we normally say we have so many people who come into these funerals, yet they are not necessarily needed to be there. So even if you wanted to have a private ceremony, I do have security.
Yes.
And we will make it effect that person that you do not want there, we will not show up.
Yes, and I do not want my funeral to be a road trip. I don't want my funeral to be, for lack of a better word, we have mastered. I can say, I'm a Kenyan, I've lived here for the last 39 years of my life, and I have seen people who are just amazing at attending one funeral after another. You find it's a funeral or a big person, you never knew them, you go there so you can take a picture, so you can be known you knew them, it's a road trip. They're just expert funeral attenders, and for me, I take that personally.
I also do.
We will just, if I want to live an authentic life, if I can live an authentic life in present and when I'm gone, I'll prefer it that way. Yes. And if you did not feel in one way or another that we knew each other that way, and so that's what I mean. But by if you are not on the list, my apologies. Yes.
And then also to add to that, Kathy, there's one thing I also say, and maybe even to Kathy's audience, always have the bereaved family at heart. Don't take it as a road trip. That is utmost disrespect to the family. You took your day off from work or from whatever it is that you do to take a road trip and go drinking. Please don't do that anymore if you're watching this or you follow Kathy. That is very disrespectful.
Yes.
Number 2, if the few funerals that I've, or many that I've organized, there's one thing I tell my MCs: stop making 1,001 promises. We will be there, we will do, we will not do.
After.
Yes. Don't make those promises even though you cannot do it. Keep it to yourself. When you're ready, just go back to the bereaved family and say, in my mind, I thought I would educate one of your kids. So here is the school fees, or give me the details of the school. I pay for it. Don't make too many promises. Remember, they are hurting. Don't overpromise.
Yes.
Yes.
I think this is
Give
like
them
this.
respect that they deserve at that moment.
Yeah. And the promise of a deliver. And when you talk about those road trips, I've seen it. I've seen it with people who are experts at coming for a burial, and sometimes things do happen. You're getting permission from work. You're maybe the one who was left sorting out everything at the mortuary. And so there are those people who will come late. Sometimes also people do get lost, you know, and things happen. And so you're trying to be there for your person, even if it means you'll get there late and you'll get there 1 hour. There are those things that do happen.
Yes.
There are those experts who know when to come when people are just going to the gravesite and take pictures and wear shades and stand there and I'm saying it because I can see my temper is going up because I've seen it. Yeah. And want to fix yourself and escort when the flowers are being taken to the gravesite. For the men that I've seen, which is 6 feet under, you're there fighting to hold a flower and no one knows you, and you've told your friend to take a picture, and so there's someone who's taking a selfie and you post it. So it's not a time for us to get our own selfish desires or to get our own selfish goals, you know, and respect the family.
Yes.
In most funerals, please do not take the phone, the camera, if you do not have permission. I don't think it is time for you to come take pictures, even if, with all due respect, even if it's your best friend, ask a family member, or if you can know who is the chairman and who's the head of committee, kindly request.
Yes.
Yes, because I feel we sometimes, and in most times, we don't respect the family wishes.
I normally say it's not your moment, it is the person who we are sending off's moment. Stop going there to take pictures and being unruly and disrespectful to the families. Just give them the respect that they need. Go there for the sole purpose of comforting them and being there for them.
Yes. And if it's someone you really valued and really appreciated and they made an impact in your life, you can quietly come, make your contribution, quietly attend the burial if there was space for yourself, attend the burial, make your goodbyes, and you can reach out to the family like we said later. Even introduce yourself and maybe request to let them know how this person impacted you in your life, because sometimes we have many faces of ourselves.
Yes.
You know,
in fact, if you can look, when I was mentioning about the tributes, there's a family that told me that they lost a son. That when they went back to the tributes in the tribute page, they knew their son in a different way that they knew. Because we are known by different areas. I will know you because I follow you on social media. I will know you because you train a lot, you do a lot of exercise, you dress good, you're passionate about your scents, flowers, etc. But there's someone else who knows you in a different angle, which if I was in that page, I'd be like, oh, so she was like this. And I'm like, okay. This is good enough.
And someone who knows the high school classmate, the primary classmate, and the mama who passes through my kiosk who, when she doesn't have sugar, she comes and tells me, give my son sugar, give my daughter sugar. There's someone who knows at the office, there's someone who knows, and you have partners who you're in this business who you work with.
They all know me in a
different capacity. So in someone's funeral, it's not the time for you to try and show how I know her, unless it's been called upon you. You give the family space, but you can always go back. And this is what people don't understand. Families, it's always the post when people stop coming, when the cars are no longer there, when it's quiet, when the phone stops ringing.
And when they try to figure out how to go about that, is even the time when you are supposed to be there for them.
Exactly, when it will be really important to reach out and say, my name is so and so. If you do have time, I just like to let you know how whoever, your son, your wife, your brother, your sister impacted my life. You have no idea how such personal moments would really help people grieve.
Yes.
And grief, I think grief has no time.
It has no time. It comes anytime, any phases. Yes.
Yes. So don't always think that that 1 week we are all meeting at the meeting places that we all say, so when the most only place, the most common, and that day is the only time you have to meet the family and let them know of your sentiments and the impact that person had in your life. There's always a post.
In fact, if it would be ideal, go see them 2-3 weeks after, because that is when it like kind of hits them that this person is no longer with us.
Yes.
So yes, go when it has happened, but also make time after just to go and sit with the family and share memorable moments and even find out how the family is doing. And where you can help in whatever way they need help, that is the best time to plug in.
Yes. And even on that day, I always say, even if you go to the houses and the person who the best way I can offer help is to wash the dishes, I will be there every day washing dishes. I don't, when it comes to this, when people are visiting, no one asks questions. They'll just remember, the lady who kept washing dishes, she'd like to meet their family, plug in whatever way. Sometimes monetary, sometimes it's through your labor, it's through your prayers. So just be confident that the person you are sending off knows that you're there for them in whatever capacity. Yeah.
And then also you've mentioned about going there to wash the dishes, etc. Part of the planning starts from the moment you hear XYZ has passed on. That is where I come in. So if you need someone at home doing the catering for that first night event, we will leave your home when your kitchen is sparkling clean. You don't have to do anything. Like in the shortest way, I normally say, you will be a guest at your loved one's funeral because everything will be done to you according to your taste, your likes, your specifications.
Okay.
Yes.
And so I've smiled very hard because some of
you don't need to go do the dishes anymore, and you'll have our people cleaning up the dishes there after.
Trust me, I will cook clean with Anne because that's how I like it behind the scenes. I enjoy it. But yes, those are some of the things we normally don't think about. I'm saying it because I've been through many funerals and I like being behind the scenes and I like plugging in those ways. Someone who ensures what will they eat. I'll go to the supermarket and buy, I'll change the menu, and so that's how I enjoy it. But
I know that's how this passion began, because that is how also I was doing it. I was plugging in behind where I see there's a gap, because that's the only way at that moment I can do it.
Yes, you're thinking, okay, so I need an askari at the gate and someone to get the packing, and all those are ways to plug in.
Yes.
Most people do not have enough dishes. I know my lady who I call.
Yes, they will bring them all in.
I know my Patrick who Patrick is my way of giving back. So that's interesting. So I'd like to ask, is it something you prepare, or is it something if you have a loved one you can leave it to them, but I'm not sure who will go first? And so how does it work in terms of money? And that's question one. And question two is the value of money, because if I pre-plan today and
with time it's going to change.
With time it's going to change because cost of living, inflation. So how does it work?
Let's start with the packages that I currently have.
If
you go maybe to the website or those that are going around, most mugs have my packages. So once you choose that and you're sure that that is what you want, to show commitment, you just pay 10%, which is going to be deducted at the end of the final invoice. When you choose the black diamond is where you personalize what you want. So in that case, there's a way when you speak to someone, you can tell these ones are serious about it or they are joking. So when it comes to the black diamond, in most cases, I meet the family. We plan according to how they want it. Then from the amount, then you pay a deposit so that I can start running around doing everything for you. Then when it comes to cases of pre-planning, we will do it with the current value, but on the agreement, which is between the lawyer and I who will be involved, we'll say there's a chance of this escalating between 10 to 15 or 25%. Then, as you said, as you update it, we'll again keep updating it. Or if anything changed within the funeral industry, I'll come and say, Kathy, prices have gone a little bit up. Whatever you want, we are increasing it by a certain percentage.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, Anne, you better be here and exit after me. So as I am praying for myself, I'll be praying for you more. Yes.
No problem. I am here, and if
Yes,
God hears my prayers, I always
yes.
ask Him to get me to 100 years. But that's for the sake of me being a pain to my son at 100 years.
Oh.
So I don't know whether God listens to those kind of prayers, but
He
yes.
does.
Okay, then
He
I
listens to the
have my
desires of
price to
our
be
hearts.
100,
Okay.
so that I can be a pain to my son.
Okay, interesting. And do you have partners who, if you're not there, who will be able? And I know I'm an entrepreneur, and we think about these things as we go along. Someone who will be able to and will be able to take up what you do, and doesn't necessarily have to be family. I wouldn't say it should be family.
No, I don't work with family.
Yes, exactly. So someone who I know that even if Anne today, and I knew how Anne liked to run her company and the standards, but even if company hands change, we have partners, we have we have board of directors, that I will fret not that I'm in safe hands.
Okay. For now, I am the one who's currently doing it.
Okay.
But I have a very close friend who I will not mention now, because she'll even be like, oh, so she holds me that highly, who knows like what is going on in Graceful.
But you need to let her know, not us, but you need to let her know.
She normally knows
Good.
what is going on within Graceful. And I keep saying, maybe by the time I'm clocking a year or 2 years, I will definitely have a board of directors.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There is an issue of a few friends and some investors who've come on board saying they would want to invest.
Okay.
So I'm still in that mindset of trying to figure out whether they would, because there are two reasons. It's not just about investing to make money. My aim of coming into this industry was standing the gap for the bereaved families. That's number one, like giving them space to come into terms with what they're going to. And the second bit was give them, no matter how much money they're raising during these committees,
Yes.
it has to be worth the money. So like I have pre-negotiated rates with the service providers just to give a good, like, I'm not there to rip people off. It has to, we're in this together. Let's do it according to the budget, and I can give you way more than what you'd expect to do it by yourself.
Yes.
So until I get the right mindset of you understanding where I'm coming from and where I'm headed to, then in that case, yes. Because I've had people who are like, oh, I want to be a partner. I hear that industry has money, and I'm like, did you just listen to yourself?
Yeah.
We're not here to exploit. We're here to make sure everything is done properly. If this flower vase is going for 5,000 shillings, why should I look at you and analyze you and give it to you at 20,000 shillings? It's still 5,000 shillings irrespective of who you are in this world.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And like you've said, why I've asked that question is because there's a lot of exploitation when it comes to grief.
Yes.
We think there's exploitation during weddings, but there's exploitation during grief, and that's because we want to give our loved ones a perfect send-off. For example, you have a friend, you have a sister, you have a partner, you have a child. You will stop at nothing to
give them the very best.
The very best, and people prey on that and exploit. And so, if I'm sending off my loved one, it will be the least of my problems.
Yes.
But eventually, when I do know along the line that there was exploitation, I'll be very, very disappointed. Yes.
I'll give you another instance now that when you're talking about exploitation or people going overboard. I had a case. I hope the lady, if she watches this, I'm sharing a story out of respect. She had a very, very good budget for the send-off. 3 million to be particular. But at the end of the day, she was a housewife. So as we were planning along, I came to realize by the time everything is handed over to her, she will have a way to move forward, right? Okay. But at this point, she's wondering, how do I move from point A to point B this period? And I told her, let's do this, because I've pre-negotiated these rates with my suppliers. Let's work with 2. The 1 million. School fees pay whatever it is that is required right now before the will and everything else is released to you. So I don't just come in to use the budget that you brought in. Feel free, speak and say, I needed to redo this. I will do it. Or where can I save money as much as all this is going on? Because you see, the committee comes and pushes. They collect money and they say, this is what we are doing. And at the end of the day, we forget some of these families that we're leaving behind where we're leaving them at.
Yes, we have school fees, we have rent, we have all these things. And don't forget, when you're bereaved, it takes you time to get on your feet, to go back to work, to even think.
Yes.
There are many days you don't see the sun rising. It's dark days. So we need to have that grace period, and we never know, depending on person to person.
Yeah.
So we could estimate maybe 6 months to a year. We need to buffer this family. That's another thing. When committees come together and you announce to people and you tell people the budget for this burial is 15 million, and who is thinking about maybe this young mother, this young father who's been left with the children, who has all these bills to pay, not also understanding the liabilities you left behind, how it happened, you have hospital bills to pay. So I think we also need to consider that, as much as it's graceful goodbyes and it's how we want to do it, we have to be realistic, and we also have to be, like you said, very thoughtful, logical,
to the family that we're leaving.
And to the family we're leaving behind. Because after we've all contributed this, the same people are not going to go to you and send you a message and say, there's a school fees bill. After now, you've asked them to contribute 10 million for our burial.
Yes, and then you remember what people will go back and say, we spent 10 million on the burial. Why are they complaining about school fees at this point?
People say all matter of things, It's a gari, kupa school fees. Kama kuwa naweza, mbona kukuwa na burial tu 1,000 kwa kulisha. So many people say many things. And sometimes the people don't say it because they want to be mean, but it's real life. And so, like you say, it's a fine balance. You not only just listen to your clients and their wishes, but you advise them on the
realistic ways of doing it. Because even if you wanted us to spend 50 million, we will do it. We will go all out to make sure it is worth that 50 million. But what happens to the family after when you leave it? Or maybe if this person had debtors out there, what next? Because they will still want to be paid.
Yes, they had a company, they had people to pay, they had employees who depended on them. We also have so many other things people don't see, We have lawyers to be paid. We have graceful goodbyes to be paid. We have obituaries in the newspapers, which are quite expensive. No one expects it. And then we have
the caskets that we want to go out on them.
Other people come and sometimes it's sad when you see these arguments that people have. But I'm sure you've experienced them and you've learned to handle them with grace. We have radio mentions and all these things everyone wants. So it's important to find a good balance. So you're not only not advising them from your end, but also finding that fine balance, having been able to go through
all these every other time. I'm learning, and as well I'm able to tell a family, this would be my opinion, but again, I'm following you lead on how you want it done.
Just statistics, and I think I keep on saying it, there's someone being born every hour, every minute, someone dying every hour. So what are the statistics currently on our death rate? I won't say on our death rate.
No, it's okay. Let's start with the positive side. On average, the last time I checked, we have between 2,200 to 2,500 people being born every day. On the other side, as we said, in life there is death. We have between 1,000 to 1,500 again who die.
So that's 50%.
Yes, 50% that's in a day in the country.
In a day.
Yes.
Oh wow. So then why are we not planning?
Thank you, Kathy. Please ask.
Why are we not planning? I'm planning because I will live. The more you get informed, the more you know better, the more you do better. And I wouldn't like people to be having to struggle with what I would have wished, struggled with burdening them with. I always say, at the end of the day, life is for the living. It doesn't mean we don't respect the dead, but life is for the living. So as you finish with the business of the dead, I want to make sure that the living ensure to continue living. Yes.
And you see, when you're talking about planning, when I spoke about the last expense, because people can be saying it would be expensive, it's your weekend budget, even maybe less than that. Like for an individual, a young person, you'll only need to spend about 5,000 once, the whole year, once, not every month, once. And at the end of it, if it ever happens, the insurance is giving you about 500,000. So please sacrifice just that one weekend, do it for yourself and your families, and then continue living your life. You're already covered for that year in case it happens.
Yes, 500,000 is actually not a bad budget.
Yes.
I'd actually buy a handbag and make sure it's 5,000. But anyway.
You'll sacrifice that one handbag, just one, but then you can do it every other. All other months, you can continue buying the handbags.
Yes, 5,000 is it's
it's doable.
It's doable. It's something that we can do, and we can be able to plan.
Yes.
And be able to. Meshi kuna form. Feel like a better word. Meshi ina form. As much as we don't know what tomorrow holds, but kuwa na form kidogo, jipange. Yes. Okay, I'm looking at my questions. I'd really planned for this session. I bumped into Anne and I said, a topic I've always wanted to talk about, and like I said, this year this platform is talking about topics I'm passionate about. Yes, more authentic to myself and my having evolved and experienced life. What is one thing, Anne, you'd love people to take home today after seeing this episode?
Can I say two?
Please, even if after watching this episode, sorry, not one. What are 3-4 things you'd like people to take home from this?
Number one, in life there is death. So when that loved one of yours goes, yes, there's a sad bit of it, but feel free, number one, to take therapy to help you come into terms with it. And then number two, create those memories that you had. Don't start deleting those pictures. Get online, go to the website, and maybe with Kathy, we can decide whether we will agree to give a discount or you just pay whatever is there. Create memories. Those memories are yours, and you can share them with every other person that you'd want to know about that person. So celebrate their life. Don't always think about that person whom you've lost with sadness. You had good moments with them. Let the legacy live on. That's number one. Number two, Kathy has been talking a lot about pre-planning.
Yes.
Please pre-plan. It might not be the way Kathy wants to pre-plan hers, but the last expense covers start from as little as 600 bob, not like 600 bob.
Kenya shillings?
Yes, and that's once a month.
How much is a beer, Nick?
Beer ni pesa ngapi?
Depends where you're buying.
Wacha political.
Okay, wacha.
Beer Milan ni pesa ngapi?
Milan, 500.
Okay, ongeza to 100 bob. Then it's just one beer you're sacrificing. Not every month, once a year.
Na bia moja itoshi watu. Na ukiongeza maji?
700.
So, bado atapata change kutoka kwangu on the last expense cover.
Put it on form.
So please, those two things. Then the third bit, whichever way you want your loved one sent off, I am there to make sure it happens that way. So let's give them that befitting send-off. And if they loved celebrating, let's plan a celebration. They loved dancing. Please ask me. I will get you a DJ who's going to make sure you guys dance on that day. Let's give them the best befitting send-off.
And on that note,
they would want, yes.
If you want how to look hot at the day, on the day,
yes,
free services here, from here. But you look hot of the day, you know how to show up for them. If you know someone love to look smart and love to show up for them in that way, services I can offer, can be my CSR.
Yes, that would be very good, because you see, when I started off Graceful Goodbyes, I wanted to offer end to end. Like the family is just supposed to sit and be consoled, everything is being brought in. Like there I look at it maybe in 2 years or 3 years time. When I'm going to see the family, I'll be having not the small car that I'm driving, but maybe an Alphard where behind is wardrobe. Like that person wanted this. Even having someone like you plugging into being like, this is how they want it to be, and you dress them for the day.
Yes.
You need to look good, not always the t-shirts that we wear.
Siku moja we go to the fundi in town, tunashonesha nguo alafu tutavaa tena. You know, I would like you to, every time you wear the outfit, remember me.
Yes.
With a smile on your face. Yeah, we can dance and have a drink.
Maybe the other thing I would add, by the time we're saying you're pre-planning, we're still Africans at the end of the day. We're not going to, it's culture for us to give. We are not stopping the committees from going on. Let them go on, but let that money maybe be used for something else if you've pre-planned for yourself. Or you can use it also as a top-up.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you work closely with insurance companies?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. And that's how I ended up having an insurance package for them. There are those who, when they're giving back the claims, the client would be like, can I have someone who will do it for me because I cannot do it myself? So I've also partnered up with insurance companies in that respect.
Be able to offer the claims.
Yes.
Last question was also, what has come to mind as I'm thinking, is it something for myself as an entrepreneur and I have employees, is it something that companies can offer their employees?
Yes. In fact, joining this industry, I realized that we have quite a number of companies that are offering last expense to their employees. Kudos to those companies, because it's not just about the good bits that they are celebrating with you, they're also taking care of you at that bit. But yes, you can also cover your employees. We normally have group covers and individual covers, so it's something that we can discuss. Even other entrepreneurs out there. This bit I normally say is, I did some survey before I did the last expense cover, that if an employee passed or someone in the family passed within the organization, you'll find the directors doing what? Removing 10,000, 50,000, etc. Yet within, and that's a one-off, but yet if you did that 10,000 for a family, the nuclear family, it will take care of the whole family. Wow. Other than that one-off give. So cover your employees where you can, and yeah, it's a good idea.
And the employees can continue with it even after they move to the next employment.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you see, it's a one-off for the whole year.
Okay.
So if I'm working for you today and tomorrow I move and do something else, the cover is still valid.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the cover is still valid. Okay. Questions I had, and thank you for gracing our seats today.
You're welcome.
And
Katia,
for
thank you for having me.
Welcome. Anyone out there who this topic hits home, I hope that this has encouraged you. Sometimes, we say hard times in life or tough times, as much as is a celebration. No one prepares you, no one talks about it, and people dance around it, and no one is willing to talk about it. And so you, for lack of a better word, you're caught flat-footed. It's when it's other people. We always say, naenda kwa mazishi ya nani na nani so I can tell you, death visits all of us. Visit all homes. It is respecter of no one, respecter of no status. So I think it's an important topic for us to keep talking about it in a respectful, a celebratory way, and in also a way that we know for sure it's going to happen. Yes. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.